Hello, welcome to the Connect 0007 experience. Here, we come to the podcast where human connection is everything. If you're trying to connect better with those around you, you're in the right spot. So please, sit back, relax, open your mind, and enjoy the experience. Hello there, Connect 0007 family. I am the host of this amazing podcast. My name is Thaddeus Sims, and today is our 72nd episode titled Heart and Vision. Now, before going into this episode, you already know that I have to share the fun fact with you all and the announcement. For the announcement, it is the same as it was before. Let us work to get the Connect 0007 Facebook page to 1,000 likes. There is a surprise for everybody once we do it because it is coming close to our 1-year anniversary, November 20th. So that is like a challenge for y'all. Let's work to get the page to 1,000. The fun fact is actually very interesting to me and very funny. And you'll see why. Scenarios play in my head. But the fun fact is, in the 16th century, Arab women could initiate a divorce if their husbands didn't pour coffee for them. Today, this would be unheard of, but back then, coffee was integral. I said that's so weird. Part of Turkish society. So much so that it was grounds for divorce. No one knows why exactly this was acceptable, but the fact remains that it was. So, as I take this pause here and drink my water, what I find interesting about this is the first scenario that pops in my mind when I first read this is I'm going somewhere, I'm sitting down. I'm just going to say I'm sitting down at an office somewhere waiting for something. I don't know. And I can just hear like that, so this was the 16th century. So bringing this into where we are now, 2019, I can just sit there and imagine, and an Arab woman and this is no way in shape or form saying Arab women are like this. This is just a crazy scenario in my head that made me laugh. It's like I can just sit down and just be next to an Arab woman and she's on the phone saying, my husband, I'm divorcing him. And it's just like, what? Yeah, and then I can just like pretend like hearing that she's on the phone with someone like, what? What do you mean? Yeah, so a week ago, like I didn't tell you? Yeah, a week ago, he didn't pour me coffee. And obviously, he knows that's important to me. And if he can't pour me coffee, then that means he can't do his part in marriage. So I'm divorcing him. So it's a wrap. He does good with the kids. He's done good with the house and all of that. But obviously, he disrespected me when he didn't pour me that coffee. And the first time I let him slide because he's busy. The second time, I was like, okay, let me remind him. The third time, that was it. So after that, he's getting divorced because obviously he proven to me that he don't want this. If you can't pour me coffee, then what else can't you do? So I'm done. The papers are already set and ready. And I can just imagine just being next to this person like, not like I really should not be listening to their conversation. I should be minding the business that pays me. But like, I can just hear that like, dang. And I can see myself putting it all on Facebook like, so this person next to me is like divorcing her husband because he is not pouring her coffee. What? I can just see myself. And it just made me laugh. I know that's bad, but like that was the first scenario that popped in my head. So let's go into this episode, guys. Now, I'm going to start this off with actually a post. This post is actually from a Facebook page called The Great Spirit. So a little bit of background with that is in my earlier stages of learning more about like my spirituality and like my path and things like that. I was raised in a Christian household, but it just wasn't for me. So I was in this journey of discovering what works for me, what, higher power. I was really just discovering all of that. And it led to me discovering that there is actually Cherokee Native American in my family. And so I was like, well, let me look into that. What is it that they believed in? And it was the Great Spirit, which is, God, universe. It's different name, same thing. And it felt very right at the time. Not saying that it was wrong now, but it just felt right. Like, oh, like I see this. And so it was very deep, and it just made sense for me. And so there was this post that I read a long time ago, and I had it saved. And this is very great for the topic heart and vision. So I'm going to read it to you all, and then we're going to go further into this. Now, the Ancient One is the name of this. So, Ancient One sat in the shade of his tree in front of his cave. Red people came to him, and he said to Red people, "Tell me your vision." And Red people answered, "The elders have told us to pray in this manner and that manner, and it is important that only we pray as we have been taught, for this has been handed down to us by the elders." Said the Ancient One. Then black people came to him, and he said to black people, "Tell me your vision." And black people answered, "Our mothers have said to go to this building and that building and pray in this manner and that manner. And our fathers have said to bow in this manner and that manner, and when we pray. And it is important that we do only this when we pray." Said the Ancient One. Then yellow people came to him, and he said to yellow people, "Tell me your vision." And yellow people answered, "Our teachers have told us to sit in this manner and that manner, and to say this thing and that thing when we pray. And it is important that we do only this when we pray." Said the Ancient One. Then white people came to him, and he said to white people, "Tell me your vision." And white people answered, "Our book has told us to pray in this way and that way, and to do this thing and that thing. And it is very important that we do this when we pray." Said the Ancient One. Then Ancient One spoke to the earth and said, Have you given the people a vision?" And the earth said, "Yes, a special gift for each one. But the people were so busy speaking and arguing about which way is right, they could not see the gift I gave each one of them." And the Ancient One asked the same question of water, fire, air, and got the same answer. The Ancient One asked animal and bird and insect, tree, flower and sky and moon, sun and stars, and all of the other spirits, and each told the same. Ancient One thought this was very sad. He called red people, black people, yellow people, and white people to him and said to them, "The ways taught to you by your elders and your mothers and fathers, and teachers and books are sacred. It is good that you respect those ways, for they are the ways of your ancestors. But the ancestors no longer walk on the face of the earth, Mother. You have forgotten your own vision. Your vision is right for you, but no one else. Now, each of you must pray for your own visions and be still. I'll say that again. And be still enough to see them, so you can follow the way of the heart. It is a hard way. It is a good way." And that's that, right? So when I first read this, it was just like, oh, wow, that's deep. That at the time, it was just like, oh, wow, that's really deep. I like it. But you come back to full circle with things. And so I've experienced all of that and then some. And now it is very important just to really just share like that when it comes to the heart and vision. And so I've mentioned vision before. Vision is very important, and each one of us have our own vision, right? And that's important that we sit down and discover it. And your vision is in your gift, like it said in the story. Each one of us have a gift and whatnot. And once you have your vision, you're good, right? What I want to focus more on is the heart, because vision is important. And I've done episodes on this, and you can listen to them. So we all know how vision is important. You need your vision. You need to have a vision. It's literally the GPS of your life, right? But let's talk about the heart. And so the very last part in this is follow the way of the heart. It is a hard way. It is a good way. And so when I first heard of the heart, I've always thought that that was just emotions. Like, don't let your emotions lead you because it leads to destruction. So at the time, I was just like, yeah, no. But over the time, I've come to discover that the heart actually, there's like how we have a mind, even the heart has a mind. There's this, I believe, I'm making sure I say this right, but there are cells that we have, like brain cells. There are actually some brain cells in the heart as well. And there's this whole study and all that about the heart. You can look this up, right? And just there's a field over the heart, just how huge it is, all that good little stuff. I'm not going to go scientific in this, but you get the gist. Research it so you guys don't think I'm just making this stuff up, right? And so following the heart, what I have come to discover with following the heart is that your heart knows things ahead of time, and it knows a bit more than you know consciously. And if you follow your heart, and honestly, I'm going to use this quote from Kingdom Hearts because I love it, but it's so much truth in that game. But it's just like, let your heart be your guiding, key, something like that. Pretty much, let your heart be let it guide you, right? And it's not necessarily emotion, like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling sad, so I'm gonna do this, or oh my gosh, I'm feeling happy, I'm gonna do this. It's a different type of follow your heart. It's literally like a guide. And I can only describe this to you all in examples so you can at least have an idea of what I mean. So following the heart, there are times where my heart will say, go do this, and I will not understand why. Like consciously, I don't understand why. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. I need all the pieces, right? But my heart will say, just go here or do this activity. And I do the activity and everything just was better than I expected, right? Or anything that I could think of. And over time, doing this enough to build the trust with my heart of saying, hey, this person is saying this to you. Don't respond with your thoughts. Feel what they are saying to you. Feel on a deeper level. And once you feel it, more will be revealed to me. So a person would say something, we can say crazy, or it could be mean. But when I listen to my heart would reveal to me that person is actually telling on themselves, but they're in pain. So when I see that, it's like, if I was to use my mind would think, oh, this person's attacking me. Let me defend, or let me do something. But my heart was saying, go deeper. And when it was revealed, it was like, wow, this person's actually in pain. I'm not okay. And I responded in a completely different way, where it was just like, okay, I see what you're talking about. And we were able to work through that. And it was just very interesting. It was very different. And so in this experience, I've come to discover that when you do follow your heart, which it says at the end, it's a hard way, but it's a good way. It is very hard, especially if you're not used to this. And this takes a lot of practice, I would say. Damn near, I would say this is a whole lifestyle change to me, to be honest with you. I was a person who was very, very like a mind person, very mental, very logical, I love my left brain, right brain. That's just how that went. When you mentioned heart, that was thrown out the window. So for me to switch over, it was different. But what I've learned is that to not throw the mind away, but to understand that the heart will guide you, and the mind serves you in a different way. So I like to look at it as, in like Thaddeus is an organization. You are an organization. So if your name is Tom out there, Tom organization. If your name is Jerica organization, right? So the heart would be the leader, right? The heart has the vision. It knows the direction to go. The mind is all of the employees who serve their different parts in the organization. So you need an employee to, let's just say, plan or make a plan for whatever this direction that we're going with, or make preparations for this, or to be aware of certain things and adjust. So keeping this super simple, the heart is the CEO. It is the leader, right? It directs. And the mind is the employees. It's following the directions and doing their part. That's the simplest way I can describe to you just how this whole process is. It can be very difficult because sometimes our heart will have us going out of character or require us to be much more than the bigger person, or it requires us to do things that we are not used to and may not understand. Again, it is a hard way, but it is a good way. And the results of that, when you do that, it is honestly, guys, it's like an adventure, to be honest with you. But the benefits and the results of it are as the following. One is growth, change, discovery, completely different perspective. I would like to say wisdom. Your inner wisdom starts to kick in. Your knowledge definitely expands. And really, it's just this understanding really kicks in. And also there's this sense of trust that is built, and a sense of really letting go. And I don't want to say it's stress free, because you could some parts it can stress you out because if you allow your mind to think, okay, well, how does this work? It does require a complete change of like the way you operate. So that's why I said earlier it's like a whole lifestyle change. And so when you have your vision, which I've said in the previous podcast, your vision is like the GPS of your life. Your heart will then literally tell you certain ways to go. Like you, so here's what I mean. 'Cause I can only do this in example form. Your vision may be, let's just say your vision is to help 1 million people, right? But let's be specific. Let's be very specific here because we're talking about a vision. So let's just say your vision is to inspire 1 million people to a healthier lifestyle, right? That's as deep as I can go for at the moment, because I can only go by my vision. And so your mind will think, okay, well, how would I do this? Let me plan this. Let me go here. Your heart may start off by telling you, hey, do you remember that event or that teacher you spoke with, or your whatever 10th grade teacher? Okay, you should hit her up. And you don't understand why. It's like, I haven't even thought of this person. And again, your heart may not even speak to you like that, but it may come to you in a feeling. It may come, something may come to you. It's a sense. It's just something like you just feel. Most of the time when it's the heart, it is a type of sense that you get. And so for me, I just meditate to listen to my heart and be still, like it mentioned in the post that I read to you. To be still, as in to meditate and to really listen to the heart, which requires you to sit down for a moment and not be distracted by everything, but taking 15 minutes for yourself and listen to your heart. And so it may come to you, hey, hit up this teacher, give her a call. You may not understand why that is, but you do it and it's like, hey, totally random, but you came to mind. How's everything been? And then next thing you know, they tell you a whole conversation. Oh, everything is great. I'm working on right now, just trying to like live a bit healthier, but different stuff like that. And it's just like, oh, ding, ding, ding. Okay. And then as you start to do that and you start to get to know and you progress and you continue to listen, things start to come together. So that's why I say it's also like an adventure. Because, sorry about the dog, it's an adventure because you may not have all the pieces. And that can be very, very hard if you are a mind person. Like you need to know a plan, you need to know where to go, you need to know how to do this. So that can be very, very hard. But once you build that trust with listening to your heart, you will start to see that it is really a good way. And sometimes you're going to go through experiences that, again, you really may not understand whatsoever, but it just works out. It just comes together. And I am so sorry, but the rain just dropped just now. I'm sorry, guys. I had to pause. I'm like, wait, the rain just dropped. Okay, like it literally was just calm, and next thing you know, it just sounds like everything, like the sky fell for a second. Anywho, let's continue. So it can be very difficult, guys. But now bringing the two together with the heart and the vision, that, which is the topic of the podcast, that it puts yourself in harmony and it puts yourself in sync with, I honestly want to say, depending on whatever your religious beliefs are, your spiritual beliefs, it puts you in sync with the universe. It puts you in sync with God. Like it does that. And then some, it puts you in sync with your higher, deeper, I say deeper power, but whichever works, your deeper power, your higher power. It puts you in sync with that, because then you start to become an open vessel for your higher power to just speak with you. You may not understand why, like, why should I go through this? Why should I go through that? You're going to have questions, but it just works out. So I say all of that to say this, is that I challenge you all to really take a moment today after you listen to this episode, or you can pause it. Take a moment to really sit down and challenge yourself to listen to your heart. What is your heart telling you? Like, if you've constantly been working, you've been doing a bunch of stuff, just take a moment to just sit down and like actually put your hand, your right hand, left hand, both hands, whatever you want to do, put your hand over your heart and just listen. It may come to you in a feeling. It may come to you as a thought, an idea, but you'll know. And just really listen and just see, what is your heart trying to communicate to you? And you'll be very surprised at what the answer may be. So that's my challenge to you all, especially if you have your vision already. You're going to be set, and you'll find that sometimes y'all may not understand, like, why. Like, you may not understand, okay, why am I even doing this? Or why is this working? Or how is this even happening? And the next thing you know, it just works out. And then you get the answer. I've learned that I had to live my life where I just do the thing and the answer will come. It's just interesting. And sometimes your heart may not even have, your heart may just sit there and tell you everything. Y'all lucky if y'all have that. But it works out, guys. It definitely works out. Most of the time, listen to your heart will give you answers to things that you probably wouldn't have been able to get if you were just using your mind. So with that being said, guys, that is my challenge to you all. Listen to your heart. Hey, if you make that decision to follow it, like they say, it is a hard way, but it is a good way. So let us move into the next segment of the podcast, which is actually our health is wealth. Now, we're going to focus on stretching for this one. And obviously we know some of the benefits of it, but there was a few things that was new to me. Me personally, I love to stretch. I like to do yoga when I can, especially hot yoga, which I don't care for the heat, but I'm a little bit more flexible anyways. But stretching is really good, right? And you'll be very surprised. A lot of us don't really stretch except for when we wake up and we do that mini little, stretch yawn thing, but that's about it. But let's go into the benefits of stretching. And so there are about 9. So the first one is increases your flexibility. Regular stretching can help increase your flexibility, which is crucial for your overall health. Not only can it improve flexibility, it can help you to perform everyday activities with relative ease, but it can also help delay the reduced mobility that can come with aging. It also increases your range of motion. It improves your performance in physical activities. So performing dynamic stretches prior to physical activities has been shown to help prepare your muscles for the activity. It may also help improve your performance in an athletic event or exercise. It increases blood flow to your muscles. Performing stretches on a regular basis may improve your circulation, and improved circulation increases blood flow to your muscles, which can shorten your recovery time and reduce muscle soreness. It also improves posture, which I personally have been focused on doing that only because I'm a tall person. And I've just kind of learned that when people who are tall, I could be totally wrong, but this is just This is just what I've learned. I know so far. But so people who are tall, when they didn't really stretch or they didn't do much, they become like they have those hunchbacks or whatever, and they kind of like I don't know, they shrink. Like I know some people, they were like, yeah, I was like 6'5", and then they're like 6'2", because like when they're older age, they shrink and I was like, yeah, no. So we don't want that. And I've learned that stretching and yoga will actually prevent all of that. So yeah, that is really important for me, because I slouch like it's crazy. And when I'm playing the game, I slouch. So it's like when I have to straighten my back out, it's uncomfortable because I'm not used to it. So that's something to be aware of as well. And what helps is that I actually seen a lady, she wasn't from here, but her posture was like amazing. I was just like her back was straight. And when she sat down, I was like, she just does that so naturally. I was like, oh man, that would put a strain for me. But anyways, it improves your posture. Muscle imbalances are common and can lead to poor posture. One study found that a combination of strengthening and stretching specific muscle groups can reduce musculoskeletal pain and encourage proper alignment. That in turn may help improve your posture. It helps to heal and prevent back pain. So tight muscles can lead to a decrease in your range of motion. When this happens, you increase the likelihood of straining the muscles in your back. Stretching can help heal an existing back injury by stretching the muscles. A regular stretching routine can help prevent future back pain by strengthening your back muscles and reducing your risk for muscle strain. And is great for stress relief as well. That one was pretty interesting with the stress relief. But yeah. So when you're experiencing stress, which is making me think, I never thought if I'm like stressed, if I'm stressed, I would stretch. But interesting enough. But anyways, when you're experiencing stress, there's a good chance your muscles are tense. That's because your muscles tend to tighten up in response to physical and emotional stress. Focus on areas of your body where you tend to hold your stress, such as your neck, shoulders, and upper back. Also, stretching can calm your mind. So participating in a regular stretching program not only helps increase your flexibility, but it can also calm your mind while you stretch. Focus on mindfulness and meditation exercises, which give your mind a mental break. I will say this is definitely awesome. I don't know about you all, but when you stretch, actually take the time to really just feel all of your body. It just brings you in the moment. It just brings you here. It's just so good. And then also, lastly, it just helps decreases tension headaches. So if you're one of those people who get that a lot, maybe do some stretches. Also, obviously, eating and drinking right as well, but doing that. So what was very interesting about this, guys, that I'm not a stretching expert, but apparently there are several types of stretching techniques, including dynamic, static, ballistic, PNF, passive, and active stretching. And the most common forms of stretches are static and dynamic. And at first I'm like, what is that, right? What does that even mean? So static stretches involve holding a stretch in a comfortable position for a period of time, typically between 10 and 30 seconds. This form of stretching is most beneficial after you exercise, which makes sense because when I used to exercise a lot, I learned that they say when you stretch afterwards, it helps out the muscles and things like that, and then the soreness and stuff or something like that. So I remember stretching out like after a good workout, it felt really good. And then the second one is dynamic stretches. So dynamic stretches are active movements that cause your muscles to stretch, but the stretch is not held in the end position. These stretches are usually done before exercise to get your muscles ready for movement. So I know usually when I go for a walk or a long walk or a run, I like to do some form of stretching as well. So that definitely helps out. So that, guys, is the Health is Wealth segment. Now, again, I don't know if you guys stretch like that, but it'll be really nice. If you're obviously don't know any other ways to stretch or you're not even a yoga person, simply, just look up some yoga postures. Just Google yoga postures and just focus on one and just add it to your routine when you stretch. And it doesn't have to be something that you take a whole hour to do, but it's just 2 minutes, if that, or take a minute to do one good stretch and then overall just work out everything. I will say from personal experience, guys, when you actually do stretch, it does something to the body and the mind. You feel loose. You feel not tense, obviously, because you're stretched out, but it's just a feeling that comes with that as well. Like everything starts to flow. And I feel like once you get that stretching in and you start to feel like you're flowing, everything around you starts to flow as well. So it's just overall really good. But that is that for this podcast, guys. Did I say podcast? Podcast. That is it for this podcast, guys. I'm sorry. It's just this rain is just amazing. It is really like, it's throwing me off. It's like the sky is falling. But anyways, yes, guys. So that's it for this episode. And with that being said, I will talk to you all Tuesday. Later. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please leave a 5-star rating and share with a friend near you. Remember, the world's a better place because you exist. Know your worth and know thyself.